Great. Well, hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm going to put this call on record before we get started, and we can have it for you afterwards. Well, welcome. Welcome to the GTAA Champions Forum. My name is Phil Mordino, and for over 30 years, we've had the opportunity to work with thousands of tournament planners around the world. And we get to hear what works and what doesn't work. So our job is to bring that information to you. And we're going to do it here on this virtual call. We have one simple mission here at the GTAA, and that is to help you produce a better golf tournament. So for over 30 years, we did 50 seminars a year across the country, and we're able to get everybody and do seminars face to face. But in this crazy world, we've had to make some changes. So we've created this forum. We've created this forum to get the word out, to bring the updates and what's happening in the golf tournament industry straight to you. And so we're excited you can join us. We're going to cover a wide variety of topics every month. And it's going to be broken down into different groups, which we'll get into here in a minute. And we've brought on 3 special guests because today's topic is what's happening in the golf tournament industry and what are some things that we can do in 2021. So we've got 3 experts in the industry, and I want to introduce Joe Gill from the Golf Conspiracy. The Golf Consultancy. Sorry, Joe. Jeff Mose from the On-Course Experience, and Tony Capachero from the Professional Golf Planners of America. Thanks, guys, for being here. So just a couple of administrative things before we get started. We have a lot of people on this call. A lot of people continue to join this call. So if you don't mind, turn off your video because we want to be able to feature the speakers, and when they're commenting, we're not going to be able to have too many verbal comments from the audience today. If you haven't already, put your audio on mute so that there's no background noise. And then very importantly, put your click on speakers view. Top right hand corner should be a thing that says speakers view, not gallery, but speakers view, because that'll allow us to watch the speaker as they're talking. So we're excited that you could join us. This is a new forum, and we're open to your ideas and your suggestions. But first, let me tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do here, so you have a grasp, and then you can better make suggestions. But this will be a monthly call, a virtual Zoom call. And we're going to be talking about a wide variety of topics involved in the golf tournament industry. Now, today's call is going to be a little bit more generic in scope, but in the future, we're going to break it down into specific groups. We'll have one call just for tournament planners. These are individuals who plan golf tournaments on a regular basis or once a year. Maybe they work for a nonprofit, an association, maybe an event planner, and they just want to learn how to produce a better golf tournament. So we'll be talking about things like how to sell more sponsors, how to fill your field with golfers, how to choose the right format, how to do an award ceremony, and so forth. Everything about producing the best golf tournament possible. And then we're going to do another one specifically for golf tournament consultants. These are individuals who own their own business. They actually help others put on golf tournaments, and we'll be discussing things like how to market your services, how to better help your customers, new ideas, and so forth. So that'll be strictly for consultants, which are event planners who do it for a living. They have their own business. We'll also be doing one for suppliers and vendors. These are folks who provide services and products to our industry. Trophies, awards, goodie bags, hole-in-one insurance, signage. We're going to be talking to them about how do they best present their services to us, the tournament planners, and how do they better market their program. And then we'll do another one just for golf courses, specifically talking to golf courses on, how do you help your customer? How do you find more business? How do you market and you promote and be more effective in hosting tournament planners? We believe that if we can help educate everyone, everyone's a winner. The industry wins as a whole. We all know that we've taken a hit. We all know that things have been tough this last year, but things are looking bright. So we want to help take that industry back to once it was, and then even better. So we'll be educating and learning from you ideas on what works and what doesn't work. So Again, today's topic is what's happening with golf tournaments out there across the country. And I brought in three top experts. These are guys who are on the front lines. They've been doing tournaments for years. They work with literally hundreds of customers, from charities to associations to meeting planners to golf courses. And they do an excellent job in their market. And they're going to share with us a little bit about what's going on in their cities, in their markets, so we can get a good handle and a good feel for what's happening there. So first, Joe. Joe's down in Florida. Joe's got a tough gig because the weather's always perfect. So Joe, tell us what's happening down in Florida. Everyone wants to hear from you.
There are a lot of golf rounds. Resorts, golf courses that I've spoken with are all reporting a lot of golf rounds. So golf courses are doing okay. Golf groups are not doing okay. The one odd thing I think we've found as part of this is one state is different than another state in terms of COVID and what the protocols and procedures are. Within states, different counties operate differently. So it becomes a little bit challenging in looking at how golf courses, how resorts want to handle the business, how they want to manage the process. I have an event coming up in the Ritz-Carlton Amelia Island in Northeast Florida that has different protocols, different procedures because of their county than one I finished several months ago in Miami, which is the Southeast Florida. So from a consultancy standpoint, I think, we've got to help work with the client, be the voice of the client with the resort, understand what the circumstances are, and ensure that we have a good quality event, but that it's still safe and secure and people feel comfortable. At the moment, most golf groups are moving to summer and fall. Again, golf rounds are up. I think Wall Street Journal came out a couple of weeks ago with they're quoting the National Golf Foundation and saying individual rounds of golf. And Phil, I think we had a call a month or so ago. We were talking about how difficult it can be to get a tee time in some instances. There's lots of individual rounds. October, I think NGF said they were up. Rounds were up 25% over October 2019. November up 60%, which is remarkable over pre-COVID. Resorts are getting more packages from hotel guests, individuals. So golf is busy, but golf groups is a whole different thing. It is possible to run a golf event safely. You just have to work with the protocols, understand what's happening, make sponsors, make the golfing guests feel comfortable. Make sure that the client is inviting people into a safe environment. But I think you'll see the fall as the vaccine continues to roll out, as the news begins to get better and better on COVID and numbers of deaths and so forth. People are going to be more optimistic. And I think as you look at a typical golf event, Phil, we've sort of always preached it's typically a 5 or 6 month process in planning to pull off a golf event. If you're looking at events now for the summer, you need to begin now. I mean, it's not time to just sort of sit and wait. Once you sit and wait and things are looking cheery again, you're sort of behind the 8 ball already. You're behind the critical path of planning. So I've begun in the last month, with a lot of clients for events that are going to be happening over the summer and fall.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me this. A question had popped up, Joe. What do you see happening with conventions?
Conventions are struggling. Conventions by nature are corporate driven, are company driven. Part of what I've seen in just some of the golf groups is if you have corporate sponsors, do the corporations, are the travel policies allowing people to travel on non-essential business? Is a convention an essential part of their business? Resorts I've spoken to, the group numbers 2020 were appalling. I mean, you see with the airline industry, the hotel industries. So what's the expression about the mother of invention? I forget at the moment. We've all learned to do this. We've all learned to, there are trade shows that are virtual trade shows. You go to a virtual booth and you see the person's or the vendor's product. Convention business has really suffered. Will companies allow their employees to travel? I mean, what's a big trade show? I mean, look at Las Vegas. What's, big trade shows? just from our perspective, Phil, the annual PGA show in Orlando. It was sort of the mecca in January for anyone in the golf industry. That's a convention. It might be in the golf industry, but it's typical as to what's happened with a lot of organizations. There are meetings, resorts I've spoken with, hotels I've spoken with. Again, following different protocols, a meeting room with a capacity of 300 theater is now 150 theater because they have to keep the seats apart. You can have, for a long time through 2020, you couldn't have buffets. We always like to try to do double line buffets to get people through faster. You couldn't do buffets. Now, in some places, you can do a buffet, but you're not, the consumer is not picking up the food. A server is putting it on their plate for them. So there's lots of ways to do it, but I think with conventions, that will continue to suffer. One, we've learned how to get our business done this way. And two, will companies, until, hate to use the expression herd immunity or the numbers are dramatically down, companies need to protect their employees and they'll be hesitant to allow them to travel.
Perfect. Joe, we appreciate you because you've been such a help to the GTA for many, many years. And if anybody knows what's happening, it's you. And Florida is very fortunate compared to some of the other states. So you've been lucky. One of the states that hasn't been so lucky is Michigan. And Tony, you're on the front lines up in Michigan, but you're also, to me, one of the best in the country, and you're creative and you do what it takes. So Tony, tell us what's happening up in Michigan.
Well, Phil, first of all, thank you for having me today. I appreciate the opportunity to come out and talk about the business. You're 100% right. Michigan has a little bit different outlook. Obviously, a seasonal business because of the winter months, right? We also were decimated with COVID and the state restrictions imposed by the governor. The first few marketable golf months, which would be your April, May, pretty much in a lockdown 100%. And even including golf. And then as they gradually began to open it up, there was some unique things they did to try to help people get out there. And, one person per golf cart, I think was what it started out to be. And then there was a divider in between the individual golfers in the golf cart. Similar to what Joe referenced, we did outings where we couldn't go inside for dining. So we had tents erected and had, the distancing component to it, but also not in an enclosed environment. So that was one of the events we did early on in the year. And as the season progressed, the restrictions got a little bit more relaxed. Golf, by its own definition, the way at least I play and the people that I play with is self-isolating anyway. My ball might be on the left side of the fairway. Another person's ball might be on the right side of the fairway. So social distancing, when they're actually out playing golf, is a kind of natural occurrence. Things that we did as a company, obviously following the guidelines of CDC, we implemented our own PGPA COVID value statement where we had the social distancing at registration. All of our golfers at every event we did this year, in the golfer gift bags, we gave them a mask and a personal small bottle of hand sanitizer. So again, because we were cognizant of trying to make sure, and I think you mentioned something that's important. They had to feel comfortable, right? One was to get them to come out and play. Two, can you put them in a safe environment and make them a little bit more at ease in having fun? Because golf outings, by definition for us, is a heck of a way to have a lot of fun and raise money for a lot of good causes. So in terms of 2020, obviously for us, revenue down 60%. A lot of our events got postponed till 2021. So we're hoping that 2021 will be able to recoup the lost revenue plus the additional opportunities. As a company, what we had to do, again, thinking outside the box and being progressive, we launched a couple of new initiatives. Diversifying our revenue stream was important, right? So we had indoor golf simulator tournaments. And so that was kind of something in the works that allowed us in Michigan to play year round. Unfortunately, for December and January, with the indoor gathering restrictions, we had to cancel those events. And we have our first event as part of a 5-tournament series this Saturday, February 13th, but only operating at a 25% capacity in this particular facility. So something's better than nothing. Portion of the proceeds goes to local nonprofit charities because, that industry here in Michigan, because of all the restrictions, decimated. The encouraging part of it is that 2021, we're getting a lot more nonprofits reaching out to us and saying, hey, what can you do to help us? We took a beating last year. How can you support our endeavors of raising money for our organization? And so there is an uptick. So we're cautiously optimistic of what 2021 looks like.
Good. So you're feeling some positive vibrations out there.
Yes. But I think Joe's point is 100% accurate. It really depends on the reporting numbers, right? I think everybody's kind of cautious and tentative, and if they see the downward trend, then they'll continue to open up, which is what all small businesses need for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's very helpful, Tony. I appreciate that. It's always good to hear because you're pretty much covered in snow right now. But to Joe's point, you need to start planning now for early summer and fall, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Joe, the quote that you were looking for is "Necessity is the mother of invention." And Missy sent that in. So
thank you, sir,
for that.
Thank you.
So I'm out here in Arizona, and we've been very, very fortunate. Yes, tournaments came to a screeching halt, back in March, which March, April, May, June are huge for events. October and November are huge for events. And obviously they came to a screeching halt. But golf, as you mentioned, Joe, went through the ceiling. It's hard to get a tee time here in Arizona. Yes, we have great weather. And yes, our restrictions were not as bad. And speaking of that, I'm going to be sending all of you who are on this call the specific guidelines and restrictions for golf courses in your area. So you'll be able to check out specifically what you're looking for there. But I'm getting a very good positive sense here. Tournaments are coming back. Yes, there's some restrictions. The award ceremonies need to be smaller. They're not encouraging sellouts, so fewer golfers. Some of them are not doing shotgun starts. They're not allowing rakes in the sand traps. I kind of like that one, Joe, because I'm not a good sand player anyways. And this allows me to place the ball somewhere in the sand. And I'm actually, getting better out of the sand because I have a perfect lie now. So I kind of hope that one sticks around for a while.
There you go.
They've got individuals in golf carts, which makes it really tough because a lot of golf courses don't have enough golf carts. And so that restricts the number of players. And then a lot of, the gatherings are now outdoors, the award ceremony and the pre-event activities. So those are some of the things that we're seeing. So I guess the big question is going to be, and feel free, Joe or Tony, to jump in. By the way, it looks like Jeff couldn't join us, so I don't know what happened, if he had a technical difficulty or got tied up with a tournament. Jeff Mose out of Maryland does literally hundreds of events a year, and he's blowing and going, so he may have got tied up. So what are some things? Here's the big question. What are some things we can be doing for 2021? What are some ways that we can continue to move forward? Because let's face it, we still have to raise money. A lot of charities still have to raise money. A lot of organizations still have to do events. So what are some specific things that we can be doing to make sure that everyone stays safe, yet we can still, put on some events? So obviously, stay positive. We have to be optimistic. We can't be doom and gloom. We're going to get through this. The country will make it. We always have. And so have a positive attitude, not only with your donors, but your clients, your customers, all your partners, people you're working with. Stay positive. Look for new ideas. I have to be honest with you, this is probably a good thing that's happened to us as the GTAA, because it has made us be creative and look for new ways. This virtual call being one of them. I love to travel. I love doing seminars, but I think there's a place for these virtual conferences. So it's made us be more creative and look for new ideas, which should happen really for all of us. We all should be looking for new ideas, new ways to raise money, new ways to help customers, is one of the big benefits. We're taking business a little bit more serious. Many of us got a little bit lackadaisical in the good times. So one, stay positive. Vaccines are being distributed by the thousands across the country. So that's a good positive sign. I really think things should be back to normal by the summer, or at least semi-normal. Let's hope and keep our fingers crossed. Some of the things that you could be doing. One, is there's a thing out there called the golf cart divider. This is a plastic divider that goes between two golfers on a golf cart. Why is this important? A lot of golf courses don't have enough golf carts, and people want to be on their golf court by themselves. But this is a plastic divider, keeps the golfers separate, and it makes people feel a lot more safer utilizing the golf course that they do have. Awards ceremony. There's no reason, if the weather's decent, you can't do it outdoors. Obviously, in some states it's too cold, but why not an award ceremony outdoors? People can stay a little bit farther apart and you can have more people that way. Something that I've seen very popular that's coming up, or has been, but now even more now, are golfathons, golf marathons. If you don't know what those are, it's like a walkathon or a bikeathon where people are actually raising pledges per hole and playing 100 holes of golf in one day. And why this is so good is because it raises thousands. I mean, the average golfathon or golf marathon raises about $50,000 net. I see events doing $100,000. And so this can help you. I'm not saying it takes the place of your regular golf tournament, but it helps you raise money. And that's what, you know, a lot of the nonprofits are needing. So you golf courses who are looking for customers, you know, tell them about a golfathon. Let them rent the golf course for the day, although it makes it tough because you got a lot of individuals who want to play golf too. But that's just one more thing to think about when raising money. Virtual golf events. We did a webinar last week on what is a virtual golf event. How does that work? How do you raise money? And I'm not saying let's replace physical golf tournaments. We're all about golf tournaments, but it's just a good supplement. It might be good for now. It keeps your people engaged. It keeps your sponsors involved. So it's a great idea to consider a virtual golf event. If you need some information, check back with me and we'll send you the link on that webinar for last week. You know, we got to stay positive, keep up the hope. You know, you mentioned something really great, Tony, what I like, and that is, you know, events indoors. You know, the indoor hitting computerized facilities are great. You can do golf tournaments there. You can raise money that way. Top Golf is another thing that keeps golfers separated, but another you know, great thing to consider. And you can have tournaments and do events at Top Golf facilities where you have one in your market. So those are just a few ideas. Tony, Joe, anything you want to add before we get into our Q&A?
Yeah, I would say one thing, Phil, in terms of what can be done to still operate a tournament safely. An event I had recently, the procedure was sent out, and communication of all of this is really important to the guests, to the sponsors and their guests. No one was allowed past security, past the gate, more than 45 minutes before their tee time. So that prevented groups or mitigated the gathering of groups a bit. People literally were being said, you can't come in. As they came in, I had stanchions 3 feet in front of the registration table. So as golfers came in, of course, everybody had to wear a mask. As golfers came in, they were 6 feet from the volunteers behind on the other side of the desk, on the other side of the registration desk. So they were able to register. Volunteers had gift bags. They were wearing rubber gloves and masks. They put the gift bags on the table. They never interacted directly handing them to the golfers. There was a breakfast and lunch. Both were pre-made, pre-boxed. The guests came through, registered, picked up their gift bag, walked through, picked up their breakfast, picked up their boxes, about which time they were pretty much ready to get in the golf cart. It was split tees. It wasn't, as you alluded to, shotgun starts really aren't allowed. So it was split tees, first and 10th tee, and one person per golf cart. There wasn't an award ceremony afterwards. And it operated fine. Everyone was fine, no negative results from it, and they were able to raise money. Mm-hmm. So in terms of good ideas of things that could be done, even in current circumstances, it still can be done safely. And I want to reiterate what you've said about the golfathon. For those who haven't done one or don't know them, and some don't, it's the analogy as a walkathon. Would you sponsor me for $1 a hole? You can actually play 100 holes of golf in one day. I have done it. It's rather physically grueling, shall we say, especially as you get older. but it can be done. And you have 36 players, two players per hole, and you play 4 loops around the golf course. And with operational costs so much less than a typical 110 person golf tournament, as you noted, Phil, you can raise some serious money doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's good reinforcement. I like the message there, Joe. Creativity. Let's just think about how do we keep people safe and what can we do to make everyone feel comfortable yet still come out and play golf. Tony, you got anything else you want to add before we get into the Q&A?
I do, Phil. Thanks. So, we were talking a little bit about what 2021 looks like. And from a sponsorship perspective, for those folks listening, you might want to consider slashing your normal fees for sponsorship opportunities while introducing more different types of sponsorship. So, for example, if you have a $500 T-Box sponsor, you might want to reduce it to $250, and then, maybe introduce something else, cigar sponsor, a silent auction sponsor, media sponsor, those types of things. I also think public awareness through social media activity is important. We've really focused our energies in that avenue. The more people you can make aware of your events, potentially there is a better attraction for participation.
That's wise. Absolutely. Social media is through the ceiling right now because of this situation, especially for us old guys who had no clue what social media was, but we're learning, aren't we, Joe?
Yeah, we're trying.
Yeah, so let's talk about a couple of questions that came in advance. I think we've addressed a lot of them in our conversation, but just so you know what some of the questions were that came in, what is the status of golf tournaments for this spring? And I think the answer was clear. They're coming back in some areas in a strong way, but I think summer is more what you're looking to get back to semi-normal. What are the status of conventions? Joe, you addressed that. The biggest show in the golf industry is the PGA show. Last week, they get 300,000 people, and that was all virtual. That was a tough situation, but I think next year it'll be back. We're all hoping for the convention of the PGA show in Las Vegas to be back in August, and we can participate in that. So I would say conventions will be back, but not till the summer. I see them popping up. I'm getting emails every day for conventions. But bottom line is they're taking it slow. Here's one, Tony, for you. Do you feel like nonprofits are still pursuing golf tournaments as a fundraising option?
Absolutely. They can be lucrative, right? So once they get the green light to have them, I think the support component becomes even more critical, right? So they have usually, especially if it's a tournament or an outing that they've done year after year after year, they've already built that momentum. They have their network of folks that participate. So for us, they reach out to us in that the support component. So if their revenue is down 30%, they say, hey, can you help us augment the lost revenue? And we have a database, Phil, I know you know this, of over 16,000 golfers and sponsors. So we leverage that on behalf of our clients. So there's a value prop to have them come with us. In addition, we have media partners in our state that are very large, that are exclusive media partners. What does that mean? They work closely with us at all of our events, and they help promote our clients' tournaments and outings. So we leverage that for our clients. So I think, yes, there is an opportunity for them to come back. It's too lucrative of an opportunity for them to say, we're going to pass on it again. I think they've realized, lessons learned. I think they realized in 2020 how important some of their activities are in terms of bringing in revenue.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. I think 2021 their events are going to be double because everyone missed their event in 2020. So they're going to come back that much stronger. Hey, Jeff, welcome. I just was telling people how busy you are. So we were lucky even just to get you for a few minutes. But we all know that you are an expert in the Mid-Atlantic. You see it. You're on the front lines. And I asked the guys earlier to share, and I'm going to ask you, what's happening in Maryland, D.C., Virginia, the whole Mid-Atlantic area?
Well, thanks everybody. Sorry we had some technical problems here. Technology is great when it works, but to all of you that are on the call today, thank you for taking the time to join us. And I'm sure that my colleagues and my mentor, Joe, mentored me years ago when I first got into this. So, and Tony, thank you for your time today also. Here in the Mid-Atlantic, we had a number of cancellations last year. Late in the season, we were able to still bring back a number of outings. Our courses, we work very closely with our courses to put into effect a great deal of safety measures, some of which the state actually used our safety measures as a bellwether for them to share with other courses to what to follow for social distancing. It's funny, everybody says about change, but change makes us better, I think. And one of the things that we have found, we no longer use the word registration. They've already registered. It's already done. Everything's prepaid. So we now call it check-in. Check-in just starts at a time. The goodie bags, the thank you, T-box gifts, whatever you call it in your particular area, are already on the carts. There's no reason to come in and have touch points and everything. The food thing was a big challenge, but boxed lunches, more food out on the course. And in some cases, we're finding our charities are actually making more money by not putting on a post-round banquet because of the food cost. They're still doing the food and everything. We couldn't do the awards ceremony, but when we get back to normal, some of them now are inclined to want to put more food out in the course during play, because we do research, we track, and we're finding that between only 75 and 80% of the golfers are staying for the post-round meal. But yet you paid for that meal to your caterer up front because you thought you had 100 golfers, 75 stayed for the dinner. We're going to turn it into a little bit different now. We're going to turn it into an awards party with open bar, light fare, but more food out. And we're actually very big, our clients will tell you, on the way that we show them to start raising more money is often to reduce your overhead. And so here in this market, we're coming back. The sponsorships that I heard Tony and Joe are alluding to a little bit. What we're looking at is we no longer call them sponsorships for the most part. We call them donations, and we're going to recognize it in the form of a sponsorship. And we try to be creative in our sponsorships to show, okay, if it's a $5,000 situation donation, maybe some of it will come out of a branding and marketing budget, some of it will come out of a philanthropy budget. We teach them how to be creative to find more money to get that donation and then become recognized in the form of a sponsorship. So we're changing those things around a little bit, but we're back. Last year, I'd say we lost quite a few of the spring. They're starting to come back. The state, and here in Maryland, our challenge is we have the state guidelines, but then we also have each county has its own guidelines. And those county guidelines can be different. So we're working within those. But like we tell all of our clients and the courses that we work with, we are still raising money for our calls. That's what it's all about. You start off with the very fact that it's a fundraising event. And you talk to most guys and they'll tell you they'd rather go out and play golf and drink a few beers and socialize than to have to rent a tux, go to a rubber chicken dinner, dance to music they don't like at a black tie gala. So, you know, pick your poison, I guess is what it is. But now here in Maryland, I think our clients will tell you, and we have a lot of them on the line here today. So hello to all of you and thank you for joining. That, you know, we're back and we're really looking forward to this year.
Good. That's very, very helpful, Jeff. I appreciate it. And if anybody knows what's happening, it's Jeff, because he's as busy as he can be. Although he did tell me last year he was going to slow down, but I don't see that happening at all, Jeff. So I appreciate your wisdom. So we've got a few more questions and then we can wrap up. But let me just remind everyone, again, we have a variety of people on this call. We have tournament planners, we have consultants, we have suppliers, and we have golf courses. So hopefully this generic call can help all of you if you take a little bit. But we will be digging deeper monthly to specific questions for your category in the future. We'll have specific calls just for that. So keep in mind that. So here's a question from a consultant. Where do clients look for our specialty? Where do clients find us? So in other words, Tony, tell me how your clients find you. And then Joe and Jeff, you can respond too. She's asking, how do we get more business, basically? Uh-oh, you're on mute, Tony. Tony, you're on mute. Joe, take it away, Joe.
I got you.
Okay, Tony, go ahead.
So we've joined several organizations, right? And so with their membership directories, we're pretty active with sending out notifications to them. Social media is a big component for us. So that's how we've been able to drive some additional opportunities by exposure. We hired a digital market company last year to exclusively work on that, and a public relations company to help grow the brand and promote the brand. So we've done some television stuff, we've done some print stuff, and some radio stuff. So that's how we've been able to get, because you still want to focus on brand. So you take a hit with the revenue. To Jeff's point, you start streamlining your costs, but you can't just give up. You have to look at creative ways to promote your brand. And so for us, we focused on revenue diversification, talked about that a little bit, and then you're also looking at your marketing strategy. Maybe you want to push up a little bit more money in your marketing and your advertising.
Good ideas. Joe, what do you do? Where do clients find you?
Two sources, and we'll go back to social media or lack thereof, from my perspective anyways. It's word of mouth with existing clients, people who've attended events, participate philanthropically, typically with a number of different events. They like what they see, they like what I've done, the sponsor branding, the activities, the on-course activities, the quality of the event. Not unusual at all to have someone approach me after an event and say, can you meet the committee next week, or come in and talk to us, or can we do a conference call or something like that. And my website is a good one. 3 weeks ago, received an email from a client from who is now a client saying, would love to talk to you. We see some of the things that you're doing. And I've just picked up a new event outside of Chicago for August. Just through following up and through, again, Tony's alluded to it, what's your marketing? You've just got to be really crisp in your presentation. You need to understand what the customer need is. Marketing's pretty simple. Find out what the customer needs, develop what the customer needs, communicate to the customer you have what they need.
Joe, what I've liked about you and what I've heard from you over the years, you get a ton of referral business. People love your events and they tell other people, or they participated in your event. And that's huge. We take that for granted sometimes, but your customers come from within for a big part. I mean, if you do a good job, you're going to be found out. Jeff, I want to hear from you, and I'll tell you why, Jeff, because you kind of have two roles. You work very closely with golf courses, but you have your own consulting business. And so we have a lot of golf courses on this call. So bottom line, how do they find you? How do customers find you, not only as a golf course, but as a golf tournament consultant?
I've got to go back to what Joe, word of mouth. Our best product is what we do. And that's the referral. We get referrals based on the quality of work that we do. And we actually have 2 golf courses here in Maryland, Blue Mash and Waverly Woods, that our company is under contract with them to oversee their outings. So their outing clients get to naturally work with us. And then, of course, then people ask, and I'm very proud to say that our marketing and advertising budget is 0. So we're very fortunate that people like Barb Morier at the ARC of Howard County, and Wendy Latow at Respite Retreats, and countless others tell others about us. And that keeps our pipeline filled. And then we're very fortunate that we've got this unique hotshot cannon thing that a client will bring us in to do that at their outing. And then all of a sudden we get into a conversation and they're going, well, I didn't know you did that. I didn't even know anybody existed that did that. And so we end up working that way. But it's strictly word of mouth. And I think Joe's exactly right. You put a good product out there, people talk about you and they want to learn more about you.
You do something, and I think it's very, very important, Jeff. If for any consultants or event planners out there, a magic word for getting new clients is partner with golf courses. See, golf courses are buried. They don't have time to get into the nitty-gritty working individually with each tournament. They need someone like you guys to help them with their customers and help them be more successful. It becomes a win-win for everybody. The golf course gets more golfers, and the charity raises more money, or the event gets more golfers. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, it offloads from the golf course, to your point. The PGAs, and we all know, just wonderful people, members of the PGA and LPGA. They didn't become PGAs to put on charity fundraisers.
Right.
They book them, they'll help with the food, but they don't give you ideas on how to reduce cost, how to be more efficient in what you're purchasing, how to recruit golfers, how to approach sponsors. That's not their forte. That's not where they come from. So if they can, the courses we work with are always saying, yeah, Jeff, here's the outing. You know, we form a relationship and help them as we can accordingly. But it benefits the golf course because it offloads from their staff. And if they had 80 golfers last year and we showed them how to get 120, that's just more golfers and more revenue for the course without any cash outlay on their own.
Right. Yeah. The PGA education department does not teach how to work with a charity golf tournament from the charity's perspective. They teach all the operations, but not from all the nitty gritty that these groups really need help on. So another question we had is, what is the average tournament's making now? Well, that's a loaded question because now not a whole lot compared to, but I will give you a little bit of a history. You know, over the years, we've seen them come and go, and we've done a lot of surveys and a lot of demographic studies. We have a tournament evaluation, so we're asking that question a lot. And we see before last year, before 2020, 2019, there was about 500,000 golf outings throughout the United States. Now, these are not all charity events. We'd say about 80–90% is charity, but there's a lot of corporate outings. There's a lot of competitive events. There's men and women's leagues, but there was about 500,000. Obviously, you know, most of those were put on hold in 2020, but in 2019, the average net for a charity was between $5,000 and $8,000. Now, don't let that scare you because, I mean, remember, there's soccer leagues, there's cheerleading squads. If they make $2,000 to pay for their uniforms, they're ecstatic. But then there's some hospitals and foundations that are making $100,000, $200,000, and $500,000, and if they don't make $500,000, they're not happy. So it's all relative, but I would say on the average, the net for a charity is between $5,000 and $8,000, and that's a lot of work. But there's a lot of events that can raise 100,000 plus with the right ingredients. One of the questions, and I'd like you guys all to take a whack at this one because this is a huge one, probably the most popular question or topic that we will ever address because we all know that sponsors are the profit. So the question is, what do sponsors look like right now, and what do they really want out of sponsoring an event? Okay, so Joe, why don't you take that one first?
I think what they have traditionally wanted. I mean, I think the host and us as consultants need to present, for lack of a better expression, a safe experience. We need to communication has just become so much more important in terms of what the procedures are, what the protocols are that need to be undertaken in order to produce a safe event. Sponsors won't bring their clients. I mean, you typically see if you've got a company sponsoring, they have a philanthropic budget, as Tony referred to, a philanthropic budget. You could tap into that. And if you could tap into their marketing budget, that's a much bigger one typically. So enhancing their brand as part of their sponsorship becomes really important. It becomes a bit more of a marketing angle at that point. So you can open some bigger purses, if you will, if you can make this in part a marketing activity and enhance the brand of the sponsor. But I think they're looking for a lot of what they traditionally have been. It's a philanthropic cause. They want to support a foundation. I can say it's the organizations that will struggle less now as they're relaunching golf groups are ones that had what I have called historically a sponsor continuity plan. So many times I've seen so many events, unfortunately, where the only time a sponsor hears from the foundation is when they're asking for money. They come out and they hit the same people every year. In September, I know they're going to hit me up for the March golf tournament, for the July golf tournament. They don't maintain the relationship with those sponsors through the course of the year, or what I would call a sponsor continuity plan. And it's just touch points. It's inviting sponsors to coffee and donuts to see the kids doing whatever it is the cause, or if environmentally oriented, if whatever the situation is maintaining contact with them so the next time you speak with them isn't the first time you're asking them for money again. So they're looking to enhance their brand. They'll still support philanthropically, but it's important to understand that the foundations, the causes that will be less affected by this are the ones that are maintaining the relationships with these people.
Very, very important. I appreciate that. Relationships are key. Tony, what do you think? What are sponsors looking for?
Well, I think Joe did a pretty good job explaining the mindset of a sponsor. I think one word would encapsulate it, and that's value, right? I think when they come in, they say, if I'm going to give $5,000 to a sponsorship, what am I getting for return on investment? So making it so that it's lucrative enough that they want to participate. Yes, philanthropic is important. They want to be connected with, if it's a nonprofit event, because we do private events, we do business corporation events, and then we do that fundraising event. So understanding what your market is, if it is going to be a nonprofit event, then they obviously want to be connected to the organization. And then that relationship, post-event discussions, relationships. We're very active off season for us, as we've talked earlier, the season's short. So we're very active post season, sending out thank you notice, sending out post-event surveys. So we get the feedback. It makes us a better company when we actually hear back from our sponsors. And then do maybe we didn't do it this year because of COVID, but we'll do like a holiday gathering and invite some of our top sponsors so that we can just kind of get together and build that relationship. I think those are the three main things that we focus on.
Well done, Tony.
Huge. Appreciate that, Tony.
Yep.
Jeff, you work with a lot of tournaments, a lot of sponsors. What's your answer to that question? What are sponsors looking for?
It comes under two categories, in my opinion, and I'm going to take it. I'm a former professional fundraiser. I had the privilege of leading fundraising for Maryland Special Olympics, the American Lung Association here in Maryland, and others. So in running the tournaments at that time for those organizations, to Joe's point, yeah, it can't be just that once a year you come out of the woodwork and ask for something. But we also focus on the mission of the organization and what your money will do to improve our local community and the constituency that organization is helping. So we market it a little bit that way. And then is this something that you could get behind to help with? And then, of course, that dovetails over into the contribution, which we recognize as a donation or a sponsorship, if you will, for the donation. The second thing is if it's a retail organization, they want customers. They want people through the door. So we actually get committees together sometimes that the post committee will contact, will go in, will take people into that restaurant or into that establishment and meet with not just the host or the hostess and say, thank you for sponsoring our golf outing and that kind of thing. They will sit and talk with the manager and extend their appreciation and talk about what that money's doing and how it helped and how important it is. But the other thing we're doing right now is that the restaurants just can't serve a lot of people and the post-round meals aren't there, the banquets. So we're getting restaurants that are selling us gift certificates, $25 value gift certificates for about $15. So we've cut our food cost. We're giving every golfer one to go to that restaurant when they get back up on their feet. They will obviously maybe take a date or their wife or their family or something, but that's getting people in the door and they can actually count and see how well that was received and they've got some kind of proof to show that they got a benefit out of it. But we actually encourage our people to write handwritten notes. Two of my events actually have committees that write handwritten notes in advance so that they can then put in how much was raised, seal it, send it off and everything. So I think it is. Tony and Joe, I just want to echo that you have to keep that relationship going and not be out of sight, out of mind until I need you. It's almost like, look, I know I've got a son and he wants an allowance every week. I'm going to see him at least once a week, if nothing else, because that's what he wants in my pocket. Well, don't be that fundraising agency that's going to that donor just once a year, just because that's when you need some money.
That's exactly right. Well, sponsors are key to our industry. They are the profit. And I heard really three main things there. One, they want more business, okay? Like Tony said, return on investment. And then two, they want that relationship with you. And I can tell you, what we hear, the reason a sponsor is going to sponsor your event is because someone with a relationship asks them. Okay, they're not going to beat down your door to be that sponsor unless you have that relationship going, you have a quality event, and you can bring them that return on investment. So
You
Phil,
sell
think of
with
it. If I could,
relationships,
for a
you
second, think
close
of
with
this.
value.
How many of,
Hold on.
I'm sorry, Joe, how many of us would ever walk into an office, not knowing anybody there, ask to speak to the manager, show them a brochure saying we're doing a golf tournament, which they could care less about, instead of why you're raising the money? Always start with why. But the question really comes back to, would you give $5,000 to somebody that just walked through your door that you didn't know, that said, we're doing a golf outing, would you like to support? So all you have to do is role play and reverse the role.
right, Joe, you were going to add to that?
Well, you sell through relationships, you close through value.
Yeah, there you go.
Your relationship is going to get the door open. To Jeff's point, you're not just going to give $5,000 to somebody who just walked in your door. So it's having people on committees that are wired in the community, typically business people, the expression, with a good Rolodex, they know people, they can help, they believe in your mission, they can go out, they have the relationships. To Tony's point, they're looking for value. They're looking for a great event. I had said previously, it's about enhancing a sponsor brand. That's something that becomes really important for these people. You sell through relationships, you close through value.
Perfect. Write that one down, Tony. That's a good one. We need to promote. Guys, this has been absolutely wonderful. I want to thank you all for joining us. I want to thank our expert panel. Great advice, great wisdom. Before I wrap up, though, let me just remind everyone what we do here at the GTAA. As I mentioned earlier, we have one mission, and that's to help you produce a better golf tournament. We have a variety of educational materials that you may need, how to produce a golf tournament book, complete guide. We've just come up with a new one, all the games and contests and formats and scoring methods that you could ever even remotely use for a golf tournament. We have a golf-a-thon manual. We have a night golf tournament manual, and we have newsletters. We're going to be doing these conversations at least once a month for different categories. So we're here to help you. We have a certification program. If you want to take your career or your education to the next level, we have a certification program where you can become a certified golf tournament planner, a certified golf tournament consultant, or a certified golf course. So keep that in mind. We'd love to put you through that program. And if you're a supplier or vendor out there, we can help you reach this industry across the country, and we'd love to help you do so. So most importantly, we're here to serve you. We're going to answer any question anytime. I love these platforms because we can talk about it as an industry. We have experts. Guys, again, thank you, Tony, Jeff, and Joe. You've been wonderful. We appreciate your
Pleasure.
commitment to this industry. Appreciate all of you, what you're doing in your communities. Please stay tuned. We'll be giving you more information on when these next forums are coming up. And have a great season. Good luck. Let us know how we can serve you. And that's pretty much wraps up our call. So this is Phil Immordino signing off. Have a great day.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Take care.